You're watching Global News Morning on Global Kingston.
Wishing you a fantastic Wednesday morning. Please join me in welcoming Matt Lee. And Matt's got some tips this time of year for maintaining your house as we head into winter, and if you're putting it up on the market, just ways to put it over the top just a little bit.
Well, we're starting to see snow out in Alberta, right? You know, you start to see these things, and I think, okay, let's get the house ready for the colder weather, because if you do decide to sell anywhere between now and December or going into, into the new year, you want to have those things taken care of so that it's fully maintained. If a home inspector comes in, all of these things are taken care of, and they're not going to pick it apart.
Yeah, less headaches.
That's right.
And it does slow down this time of year, buying and selling, but it still happens.
Yeah. Well, actually, to tell you the truth, so fall's really busy until about, I'd say December 10th, depending on the snow. As soon as we get into that time, spring and fall are the busy markets. Then, you'll get that slow time in December. You'll get a bit of a jolt in January because everybody's thinking it's a new year, let's get things going. And then really the kickoff is the middle of February.
Okay, well, some great advice here on how to put your home over the top and what to look for.
So we want to make sure that eaves troughs are clean so that any water or snow that's going to come down is going to be able to travel down the downspout and get out of there, because if not, you will get ice damming and it will back up underneath the shingle, so you don't want any leaking. We do get freezing rain, we do get rain in the middle of winter. You want to make sure that these windows are caulked and that everything's sealed up so that it's not dripping inside the house. It's just something that if you have a vinyl window, you don't see it as much, but I mean, if you do have a wood window, it expands and contracts more, so therefore you want to make sure that those things are taken care of.
And your electrical bill will go up if there's a draft, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. They used to say that if you were looking at a farmhouse, whether it was stone or brick, that if you measured all the cracks and the way that the windows sat and everything else, it was probably a meter square hole in the side of your house because of the amount of draft.
Wow, just a little crack and allowing that much.
Now we've got to the point where everybody's probably getting to the point where they're replacing windows. Those older farmhouses, a lot of people are spray foaming. Even the brick houses downtown, that type of thing where the mortar has cracked and you get all these different pieces. Spray foam's amazing for that type of house.
Other tips here, we'll talk you through it.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier the tiling.
Yeah, so shingles, we basically, you get these high winds. We had a couple really high winds last week. We were getting into 60, 70 kilometer winds. You want to make sure that everything's taken care of prior to winter so that you don't get any of that ice damming that we talked about. So, if there's a cracked shingle, you're going to get that.
Catch it early.
So now is the time where the furnaces are being turned on. Make sure that you got a fresh air filter in there. One, it's blowing cleaner air throughout the house. Two, it's going to make sure that it works more efficiently. If it's drawing more power to power that fan, one, your electricity bill is going to go up. Two, it's going to make that furnace work harder, which shortens that life expectancy. So change the filter, set an alarm in your phone, change it once a month right now until March.
Okay, once a month. Wow.
Yeah, I would. People always say change them quarterly, but you're not using it in the summer. Right. So I think that if you're using it in the winter, you get the cheap filters. I mean, they cost probably $12 for 3, something like that, or $9.99 at Canadian Tire. I think that if you do something like that, change it once a month, and then you know that it's working properly. You're checking it. You're seeing how much dust going through the house.
I always get afraid this time of year, turning on my baseboard electric this time of year, maybe around November. I could smell
the dust burning off it.
The dust burning. Totally. Anything to be worried about there?
No, but I mean, I think that I would always leave a window open just to let that burn off and get out the window, because it's not. I don't see it as being an issue as regular dust. For any reason that there was work done in your house and that there was
You're gonna get a lot
more,
of it.
Then I would probably try to stick a vacuum in and clean it out first.
Okay.
But I think that if you just open the window, allow that smoke to go out, carry on.
Great advice. Some more pictures here.
Ooh, okay, so smoke and carbon monoxide detectors, make sure that they're under 10 years old, make sure that they're working. We're going to come to that daylight savings time where you're going to want to make sure you check them, check your fire, extinguishers as well. Make sure everything's up. If you have kids, make sure you have a plan to get out of the house. And then we have burlap that we're going to wrap our miniature trees. I mean, anything that's an evergreen, that's a miniature tree that you have in your front garden, you want to make sure that they're wrapped so that they don't get frostbitten. We get down to -30, that doesn't help. And seal in the driveway. Any water, so you got this time where we're coming into right now where you get this water that kind of goes into the crevices and cracks, and then all of a sudden you'll get this -10 night, and it'll bang. It'll push that driveway up because it's creating ice expands. So therefore you're going to get these humps and crevices and all this stuff. You know, I would at least take some tar and seal the cracks so that it sheds off and continues going away. The sealing just allows it to prevent any dippling and all this other things that could happen. I think that you got to get those cracks covered so that you don't lose your driveway.
Always excellent advice. Thank you so
Thanks.
much, Matt Lee.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Real estate tips brought to you by Matt Lee of Royal LePage.